Well, there's Kris there. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Gallowgateshots YouTube channel. We've just got a tiny bit of technical difficulties, which Kris is, you may have seen him run in front of the camera to try and sort. So for now, you've just got me. And I think Kris is coming back now. Here he is. Whoop, there he is.
Hi, everybody.
He's running back and quicker than we're midfield.
Sorry about that. Let's try again. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Gallowgateshots YouTube channel. And we are here for our first post-match padder of the season. It's not a great one to start with, Deka. No, it's not. No. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. I know it is pretty... it's not so far after the match is actually finished. It's full time there. So Deka's rushed up the studio. Deka had the pleasure of watching that at home today. I was at St. James's Park. But... Deka, starting lineup. We'll start with the starting lineup. I know we discussed this in our preview yesterday in regards to it's probably going to be close to a strongest 11. Obviously, we were expecting both Lascelles and possibly Fabian Schär to be starting. Both those were substitutions. I don't think either of them made the field, if I remember right. And it was Clark and Kraft who came in alongside Fernandez. Is that a shock, or with pre-season, it was a flip of a coin, really, wasn't it? Yeah,
I mean, the formation choice was what I expected and what I wanted, so I was fine with that. I was maybe Schär due to the Euros, I don't know, maybe has been given some extra time or whatever. Lascelles was a surprise, I have to be honest there. It wasn't something that I thought would hurt with, to be honest with you. Kraft, obviously, not many people are a fan of him, but I was happy to see Fernandez on there playing in the middle. I prefer to see him central.
Yeah. You've got out of the defenders. I would probably say Fernandez is probably my first defender.
Yeah.
To go on the team sheet.
Yeah. And Clark, which we'll come on to, but Clark, I suppose, left-footed on the left side of the three. I didn't have too many problems with it, to be quite honest with you. I thought Lascelles was the strange one, if I'm honest with you. So
yeah. Let's just get straight into the game, because as always, we will have our Always Smiling Faces podcast tomorrow night around what 8:30 it'll be. That will go live on that one. But just to obviously, this will probably be about 20-30 minutes from us today. In regards to opening the game up, you couldn't have asked for a better start. I know West Ham, obviously, I think they had 2 corners in the first few minutes, but we just hit them. And Saint, he ended up on the wing on the right-hand side, and he's just dancing past players. He's doing what he does, and not just taking them on once, but going back and trying again and doing it again and again and again. It's a great ball in by Saint, and that header by Wilson obviously plants in the back of the goal, hits in the net, and he runs off the corner and celebrates. In regards to opening, that's fantastic from us. Absolutely brilliant.
I mean, first of all, Shelvey, believe it or not, he's the one pressing the ball right in the top right-hand corner of the field, and we win the ball back through Shelvey. Saint is just standing up against Rice, and is just left and right, and Rice can't. And then that one little yard he gets, he puts a great ball in. Wilson's run to get in between 2 central defenders. It's exactly what you want your number 9 to do. And as you've just said, I mean, the perfect start. The perfect start. It was absolutely brilliant. I was buzzing, to be honest, and I'm sure the ground was.
Made the noise in St. James's Park when Wilson scored was up there with the loudest I've heard in a long time. It did come on the announcements later on in the game that there was 50,000. They said it didn't look like 50,000, if I'm being honest with you. Yeah. There's quite a big chunk between the away fans and the home fans. Quite a big chunk there.
Yeah.
West Ham looked like they were sold out capacity, as you would expect.
Yeah.
But
any seats in and around you, would you say, or did that look?
There's a few scattered. You could see them in noticeable places. So if you're looking from the east stand to the likes of the director's box, the right hand side and towards the back, there's quite a few empty chunks there.
Right.
Like blocks I'm talking about, not just a few seats, but blocks. Okay. It's probably this normal thing where it's tickets sold rather than bums on seats.
That's probably true.
There's 2 fixtures. There's 2 attendance figures that they give off.
Yeah.
Apparently, one's tickets sold and one's how many people physically came through the turnstiles, which the police get, or something like that.
Right. Okay. But 50,000 was the one announced.
50,000 was one announced. Yeah, which I was shocked at. But yeah, start of the game, fantastic. The atmosphere before you even kick off was great. I wasn't there for Willock coming on the field. because he was announced. Did you see that?
Yeah, I did. Yes, he came on. Yeah, it seemed a good
in the
applause.
pissing down rain.
Yeah, it was lashing down. Like I did say that to me dad. I said I didn't have Saint fancy it the day. That's because I seen the rain, you know. But yeah, he came on and he got a great applause. It must be fantastic for him. You know, he was there with his dad. I would imagine it must be his mum sitting with them as well, and Southgate was behind him.
Southgate's made the effort, has he?
Gareth Southgate was there, and he was next to Charlie, sitting next to Charlie.
All right, okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, obviously we get that open, and we saw VAR come into action twice today. West Ham, they score, get the equaliser, make it 1-1. There's a bit of confusion from where I'm sat in the ground. I'm sat Gallowgate going into Strawberry Corner.
Yes.
So I couldn't really see what was happening because obviously people stand up and I couldn't see what happened with that goal. Yeah. Explain what happened.
Well, there was a shambles defensively, but yes, basically Cresswell crosses the ball, and it's one of them where if no one touches the ball, it goes in, and unfortunately that happened. Nobody touched the ball and it went in. The reason why I can understand why the linesman gave offside, because from his view it looks like someone's touched it in. I actually think he thought it was Bourne that was offside, who then blasted into the net, but the ball had already crossed the line at that point.
Right. Okay.
But then when they showed you the other replay, actually, Cresswell crossed it and it just went straight in the net. So
it's gone straight in the net from the cross. Wow.
No one touched it. It did look very, very close that I can't remember who it was, sorry, but not Bourne, but the other striker or whoever it was in the box, he flicks his foot up, but he misses it altogether, and then it just goes in. And when Bourne lashes into the net, the ball's actually already over the line.
Right. So, okay. Yeah. Then from that, we're talking about this game, but I think as a neutral, if you're watching this game, it's a great game to watch because both teams were going for it. I don't think, well, especially in the first half. We'll get on in the second half a little bit, but the first half, both teams, you could tell that they wanted to score goals. They wanted to put the pressure on. It was back and forwards.
It was.
It really was.
Well, honestly, there's going to be two halves to what I'm about to say later on, but like I really enjoyed the first half. I can't really deny that. Like they put a stat up that there was 9 attempts from us and 8 from them. I mean, we've sat here and talked about games where we haven't even had a shot in the first half. So the first half,
full game.
Yes, you're right, full game, and both teams were at it. My worry is they look dangerous. Them look dangerous every single time they come forward, and that was me concern. I said, "Me, God, there's going to be goals in this." I think
it was down that left-hand side of the pitch, their left-hand side of the pitch, where you had Murphy and Murphy. To be honest with you, his head just didn't seem in the game. It really didn't. He was trying things and they just weren't working. But credit to him, he kept on trying. Then he got his goal at the end of it. He did get his goal to make it 2-1. Newcastle take the lead before half time. It's a decent goal. It's well worked as well.
The pressure that we were putting on them at that point, I mean, it seemed relentless. I mean, St. Maxim in certain times in that first half was absolutely taking the piss, absolutely just taking the piss. And I thought that whole play, I mean, we hit the bar and we hit the bar, took a slight deflection, but you know, we were playing good stuff. We were playing good stuff. We were trying to play good stuff. We were trying to be on the front foot. We always looked susceptible for a counter attack. However, but the goal you're saying there, I mean, Richie did superbly well. The cross, because Almiron overhits the pass to Richie. It's going out for a goal kick, but he manages to stab it in, and Murphy takes it really well. No power in the header at all. He just sort of glides it in there. And I mean, you go in the break at 2-1, watching a great game of football from both sides. In fairness to West Ham, I thought the game itself was really good. I was really happy.
What I did notice about the first half, saying obviously he gets that assist from the right hand side and on the byline. But then as the game went on, as I said, that first half went on, he seemed to be dropping back on the edge of our box and picking the ball up there and thinking, I'm just going to take players on here, which worries me. Then in the second half, that's the reason why it worried is because he loses the ball. Then they just go straight down and score. That's their second, that's their equaliser, I think.
That's
their second one.
That's
where Saint loses it. And it's, of course, I'm sitting here and saying Saint shouldn't be doing that, but that's the sort of player he is. If you're the manager, you should really be telling that sort of player, don't do that there.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny, isn't it? Because, I mean, I don't know if you remember, but Saint ran all the way back, probably where you're sitting, and won the ball right on the edge of our box. Won the ball
straight through the middle,
and then ran all the way, and Almiron hit the bar, I believe maybe on that chance. I mean, you're seeing one side of the coin of him coming deep and running with the ball. But a couple of things is, I think it's wasted energy, right? I don't want him picking the ball up that deep. We need him further up the field.
It's back to that scene of goal where the manager says, I think he just boots the ball and says the ball moves faster when you don't have it.
Yeah,
it's back to that scene, picking the ball up there.
It's just too deep, isn't it? Now, obviously, let's just say he was getting man marked or whatever it may be, and he's wanting to come deep occasionally to maybe lose that marker. That's fine. But it was every single time he was coming dead. You know, sometimes he was deeper than Shelvey was. I mean, or Hayden, sorry.
Well, from that assist, I don't think we saw him on the wing after that assist. Everything was bang through the centre.
Bang to the centre. Well, he kind of played as a two up front in the first half. He was coming left, middle, right, changing all over the place.
Yeah.
But I agree. As the time went on, he was getting deeper and deeper and deeper in the second half of Kosovo. I know, obviously, it was Saint's fault. Don't get us wrong, but Clark. I mean, Clark. You have to, when you watch the goal back. I mean, just not looking over his shoulder. Yeah. Not once, not once. When that cross comes over, and then by the time he's walking backwards, he bangs into the player who scores. It's such a soft goal.
There's a few comments that I've actually seen on social media while we were sat waiting to go live there. It's a lot of people saying the exact same thing. Right. Our defence is basically non-existent and just not checking the surroundings, and that's cost us a couple of goals today. I would probably say their goals, which all came from our errors. It's that there are errors, probably apart from their first one. Again though, it's sloppy because we got a warning earlier on that them had two on that side of the field, and what I found on our left hand side, Richie and Almiron were working together. On the right hand side, I just felt it was just Murphy. That's all I felt. I just didn't feel there was any protection for Murphy. I didn't think Murphy particularly played very well the first half. The only protection he was getting, like I noticed Hayden was drifting out on the right hand side now and again, which I agree. So it felt like the three in the midfield. Obviously, you had Shelvey in the middle, Almiron on the left of that three, and Hayden on the right. And obviously they were drifting out wide. But it's so disappointing. I mean, you come out the second half. I didn't think we started very well. In fairness, and I said to me, I was like, I think West Ham's definitely got another goal in them. And it came when it did. And the third goal. Well, your opinion on that, because from the ground area, obviously, I've seen that tell you, so it's easy for me to say. Is this a penalty?
Yeah.
So the third one, it's the opposite end of the ground to where I am, so I couldn't see a single thing. Yeah. As I saw someone went to the ground for a challenge, is that right?
Well, maybe you did.
But from that, you can't see. Then when it went to obviously it went to VAR, and it took quite a little while to decide if it was a penalty.
Yeah, apparently they say that they were looking at it if it was an offside. So the penalty decision was almost instant, which is a disgrace, by the way. But they were checking if it was an offside.
Right. Well, I just thought, obviously, being in the ground, not knowing what's happened up there because it's miles away, I thought it might be this new rule of VAR coming into place where it said that, yes, there may be contact, but the contact has to be forceful for a player to go down. I thought maybe this is what VAR are looking at, but obviously if it's offside, then I'm completely
wrong. Which it
wrong.
Should have been, by the way. It should have been.
So explain what happened. So anybody who's obviously left the ground and watching this hasn't seen it back. What happened?
Well, in regards to the build-up, I just want to mention one thing. Obviously, they play a lovely ball out wide, but again, we're doubled up on my fullback. The guy's open, totally open. And Antonio actually hits the post from about 5 yards out, and then that comes back to Murphy. Murphy absolutely clearly wins the ball. Clearly. So he takes a touch. Maybe he should clear it first time, but so what? Takes a touch, players on his arse, and then he wins the ball, which then, plays onto their player, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
He clearly wins the ball. And I can't believe that with VAR. I mean, the referee, the referee may have a poor view when he's given the foul or the penalty. But VAR has to see that and go, he's won the ball. Has to have seen that. And it's a shambles. And the reason why the time in the game's so poor for us, isn't it? Yeah. We've just conceded to go to 2-2. That's going to make it possibly 3-2. And you get a decision like that. And that hurts because that was never a penalty. Never.
Yeah. And normally a good indication if it is a penalty or not is when they go to the Sky Sports studio after the game. And I think every single one of the pundits was saying that is not a penalty.
Every single one of them.
Who was in the studio?
We had Souness, Richards, and Michael Dawson.
Right, okay.
And Dawson was furious, to be quite honest with you. He was like, that's just a disgrace. And then Richards went, totally agree with you, that's horrendous. And as I say, even the presenter, and he's a Macklem, I'm sure, even he said, no, that's not a pen. Like, so, and the point them were making is how can a referee not be allowed to come over and say it on the monitor? You know what I mean? And they say that we think it might be, but you were the one that gave the decision. Do you want to have a look at it? Because I believe if the ref's seen that, the ref would then say, I've got that wrong. Yeah. That's what I think anyway. But he didn't have
It's ridiculous though, because obviously they've brought this new determination of VAR in where they've changed the rules slightly. And I think we've noticed with the linesmen can flag now for offside if there's clearly no goal scoring opportunity and things like that. Then I've just mentioned that thing about the penalties and the touches in the box. It's our first game of the season and VAR's done over again. First game of the season.
I totally agree with you. I mean, I actually think the rule that they've tried to bring in makes perfect sense, right? That,
it does.
Yeah. You know, that is it meaningful contact? Is it generally a penalty? How many? Because we've seen so many soft ones, but how you can watch that back. I mean, what annoys us is that you see fans on social media and even the punt, like people are seeing it with one replay and they know immediately it's not a penalty. I knew straight away that wasn't a pen. And God knows how many times they must have looked at it VAR and them said it was. And to move past that slightly, he saves it, right? The kid saves it. And then...
So this is what I'm gonna do a little nudge here to a fantasy Premier League. Matt on the channel, he did say that Woodman is a good choice to have in your fantasy Premier League as backup because he's so cheap and obviously he's going to be starting the X amount of Newcastle games at the start of the season. I'm not sure how many points you get up for saving a penalty.
Yeah.
I know it might be obviously counteracted by conceding 4 goals as well, mind. But he saved a penalty on his game at St James's Park there, and it's a decent save as well.
Yeah, in fairness, if you see it back, and I think he will say the same, he maybe should have kept a hold of it.
Well,
obviously he's parried it out now. I mean, at the end of the day, right, he saved it. I mean, poor lad saved it, and the problem was, again, though, if you'll see the replay, right, shambles from us as a team that we only have one player on that side of the box.
This is something you've just reminded us. It is something I wanted to ask you there. Is he outside of the box when the ball is struck? The one who scores?
Yes,
he is, right.
His head's technically not, but he's
right. Okay, yeah. Just because that's always my instant reaction when you score a rebound. I'm thinking if it's not the penalty taker, I'm thinking, right, were they in the box? Because a few of the players were asking the same question as well.
Yeah,
the referee.
They did freeze frame that afterwards, and it showed you that everyone's body was in, but no feet were.
There's a lot of people saying Shelby was flat-footed at this point.
Well, it was Richie that was the problem.
Was it Richie? Was it?
Richie was in between two of their players. The goal scorer.
Oh, well,
Richie was there, and
sorry, Shelby.
Richie made his move and then almost stopped. It was a funny one. It was funny because he almost ran in. If I'm honest with you, thinking of it now, he ran in and almost celebrated that he saved it.
Yeah.
He went, oh, and then realised shit, and then it was too late. So if he just carried on his run, he may have been able to put the player.
There's a comment there on screen, and I do apologise for people that just listen to audio, but I will read this comment out and I'll put it on the screen. So Graham McAvoy says, so what? It would have finished 3-2. That's not how football works. No, it's not just because you're ruling one goal out, the rest of the goals stand. It's a butterfly effect. Taking that penalty away, then that changes the game. Well, yes, they might have went on to win 3-2.
Yeah.
We might have went on to win 3-2. The game might have stayed the same. So it's you can't just take that goal away and say they would have still won.
Oh, no, you definitely can't. I mean, obviously, I get what he's saying because it finished 4-2, so you take a goal off them. But no, I mean, it's still 2-2. The momentum of the game's changed. Tactically, we would change or adapt or whatever. But I say adapt, we couldn't adapt and bloody whatever. You know what I mean? No, absolutely not. It's just a bad time to concede. You know what I mean? And
just a handful of minutes as well, isn't it?
That's what annoys you. That's what annoys you. And I have to say this at this point now is where I got very annoyed tactically with her. That we were getting absolutely overrun in midfield. And the problem, and I know I've blamed Clark here, and I'm going to blame him again in a minute. But the problem is you would have seen it because you were there, obviously. The one pass seems to just be from their defence, and all of a sudden the opponents run into our back three. That's not right.
I know.
It's just not right. There's just far too much pressure on our defenders. That has to change. I mean, Hayden, Christ knows what he was doing. But and Shelby, I actually thought Shelby had a good first half. I thought he was passing the ball around well. He looked comfortable on the ball. But again, when you ask Shelby to do the other side of the game,
when that substitution was made, when Shelby went off the field, I think we were not 4-2 down at this point.
That's correct.
Yeah, so we're 4-2 down, and Shelby got taken off the field. And I'm not sure if this was a reaction to the substitution or a reaction to Shelby, but there was a section of the back of the Gallowgate, I would say, started to boo that. And it's one of those things: are you booing the player or are you booing the substitution?
Well, it was a terrible sub. I mean,
formation wise,
yes, that's what I mean. How on earth you think you can play with one centre midfielder? You're already getting overrun in midfield. I mean, it was
Hayden and Almiron, wasn't it, that dropped into the centre at first?
Well, technically, because Almiron in a way was already playing in the middle in a way, but so he was having
holding the midfielder.
He moved Hayden back into a more trusted midfield, but then he had Almiron and Fraser really alongside him. It's never going to work.
Yeah, of course not.
You know what I mean?
Of course not.
Terrible.
But who was it that came on for Fraser? Was it Fraser that came on for Shelby?
For Shelby, yes.
Right,
Fraser
okay.
did, yeah.
There was a few. It's one of these things where this is where, and I know Alex Bruce was out saying this is going to be the longest managerial career, blah, 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 going from player to coach to whatever with Steve Bruce. But just because he's had a long career doesn't mean that it's a great career, and I think we've just found out once again there after that half-time team talk. God knows what happens when you're going in 2-1 up. Then formation, tactic wise, and the substitutions once again. I'm sat there thinking, what? Yeah. I don't know where the players are supposed to be playing. So the players on the field, what are they thinking?
Yeah, well, totally right. I mean, it's 43 years, isn't it, that Bruce has been consecutively 43 seasons in the English game. And, it's like, fair enough, good luck to you, but 43 years, well, it classes you a dinosaur, right? Like, you can't move on. And it's time and time again we see poor substitutions or poor... I mean, I can't believe every fan in the ground, everyone watching it was like, why on earth are you playing? Technically, you could say 2 wide men, centre midfield. In a sense, really. Almiron, you could say is more of a winger or maybe a number 10. But the problem, as I said before, is we're already getting overrun in midfield. And then you decide to think, well, I'll just play one centre midfielder now. We're fucked. Every single time them came forward, they looked like they were going to score. Yeah. And this is, I'm sure Bessie's mentioned this before, that sometimes with Brucey has an attitude as, well, if I put 7 strikers on, we're bound to score. Yeah. Or 7 forward players. Do you know what I mean? And it doesn't work that way. It just doesn't work.
Well, we saw that obviously he makes the double substitution after that, and Joe Linton comes on and Longstaff comes on. Yeah. Joe Linton had a few decent touches when he came on. He got into the box. Yeah, he got into the box and he put it across, and I think, who was it? There was someone that just missed out. But even before that, there was a few chances where we're cutting the ball across goal, and you're looking at inches away.
Saint had one when he crossed to Richie. Saint did so well. Got inside and crossed it, and Richie sort of fell over. But the ball just didn't get to him. We could have scored again. We could have, to be fair, but did we really deserve it? I thought the second half were poor.
This is the difference, though. Like, you need to be clinical in these positions, don't you? And the chances weren't there. Well, obviously, with ourselves, we just didn't capitalise on that.
Well, you think that Wilson didn't have a chance, did he, the second half?
No. I'm just going to plug that camera in because it's going to run out, Barry.
Okay. Yeah, I think, I mean, if anyone wants to get any more questions in, I'll see if I can turn this around a bit. Yeah, actually, Callum Lewis has made a good point there. He says, what annoys me, sorry, I don't know how to get on the screen, but what annoys me is how slow we are playing from the back, or when Woodman releases the ball, we take an age, basically. Now, I agree with that, and do you know why I got pissed off with it? Is we're played like that when we're 3-2 or 4-2 down. Whereas what in my opinion, is when you're winning the game 2-1, that's when you take your time on the ball. That's when we're knocking it around and take forever. Who cares? You're winning. Build it up. Be patient. However, we were trying to be patient and almost wasting time when we were 4-2 down, which that's what pissed me off. Absolutely unbelievable. And the fourth goal, we'll get on with it now.
Yeah.
Again, right?
Remind us what happened, because I really can't remember.
So there was almost a 50-50, you could say, in their half, just outside their box, where we had Shelvey and I think maybe Hayden or maybe another player, and Antonio somehow come out with the ball, right? One pass after that, and they were through, right? And Clark, he's only got one player on his. Only got one player there. Antonio's the only player. The guy's got the ball. Kraft's going towards him. That player with the ball has only got one option on the whole field. Is Antonio. He doesn't look over his shoulder once. And obviously, don't get us wrong, the finish from Antonio is superb. Absolutely superb. But Clark has to know he's there. Has to know to try and block off the pass. But he doesn't. And then he obviously the largest plays it straight through Antonio. It's bang, it's 4-2, game's over. But that's twice where Clark, for me, and also, how poor was Clark on the ball? Like, it's almost like a foreign object.
He wasn't the only one, though, mate. There was a few players. And I know we sat here just 24 hours ago, just yesterday, and gave Richie loads of credit. Yeah, well, Jesus Christ, the dedication's there and the effort's there. But his touch and his crossing today at times was piss poor.
When he put a few good corners in, he set up Murphy's goal. But the way I found Richie got worse was when we were getting beat. So when we were 3-2 down and 4-2 down, all of a sudden his head seemed to go, and his touch was shit, his passing was shit, his crossing was going on for goal kicks. It was so strange that. It was so strange. Almiron, ghost in the game. Yeah. Certainly in the second half, ghost. I don't know, it's frustrating, isn't it? Because I say the first half I felt was so good. The second half was just so damn poor.
We've gone. I don't obviously want to focus too much on, but Woodman obviously he saves a penalty. I know that they did have the rebound and scored from that one, but there was another point in the game in the first half where he makes a great save as well. Keeps it. I think we were 2-1 up there. It's a great save. Yeah. And Woodman, do you know what it is for conceding 4 goals? I don't think he had much to do. It was strange because our defence, and honestly, hats off to Fernandez, because Fernandez, once again, he's putting challenges in left, right, and centre. It looks like he's running that defence solely alone. This one.
Way to God, mate. If it wasn't for him, it could have been 5-6. Truthfully, he little last-ditch touches or blocks,
And I said this against Norwich, that I know it's pre-season, but even in that game, you could see that if he wasn't there, we would have crumbled. And it looks again, I know we've conceded 4 once again, but without Fernandes there,
it would have been more.
It would have been.
It's very worrying. I tell you why I was really worried. I was driving up here obviously for this, and I thought, for long periods of the game, I didn't think we were that bad, to be honest with you. To be really honest, and I'm going to ask you an honest question: do you feel in the first half we could play any better?
No. So this is a problem with Newcastle United, though. We're not the likes of Man City and Spurs who are playing now, where you're going to get a team that's going to play well 9 out of 10 times. Yeah. Newcastle United, once again, will normally play well in one of the halves and absolutely atrocious in the next half. And we saw what the team can do in regards to attacking and that mentality to get forward and score goals. We saw it in the first half. But then you turn the page and you see how bad we can be. And that's in one game.
And that's what I mean. Like, me concern is conceding 4 against West Ham at home. It's just not great, right? It's fucking dreadful. And I do worry that we'll look so shaky defensively. And it's not something we normally say, right? To be fair, but we'll look really, really, really nervous.
We did.
Even at 3-1, I wouldn't have been confident. To be honest, even if I get in the third goal before them got theirs, even at 3-1, every time them come forward, I thought, God, they're gonna score.
It's one of those games where I saw this quite a bit on Twitter over the last 48 hours, where Newcastle United could go into that game and win 2-0. Or we could go out and concede 2-3-4 like we have done and lose the game. It's so strange. It's just one of those games. And I think I don't want to put too much, obviously, negativity on the result itself, because we were sat here yesterday thinking, obviously, just let's not kick off too much if we do go and lose the game, which we have done in the end. But once again, just going back to a few minutes ago, we've saw what we can do, and there's players there. And you've got to remember, we've still got Willock to come in. We've still got Lascelles and Fabian Schär to come in. You're looking at 3 players there who could change things, especially defensively. 100% defensively.
I agree.
And Willock, who loses their position in there? Does Almiron lose his position? Because you can't obviously take Saint out of the team. Wilson's not coming out of the team. You're probably looking at Almiron, aren't you?
I think someone asked me on Twitter the same question, and it's a good one. I mean, you can't really drop Hayden. For all, I was disappointed with him today. Shelby will never be dropped. And really, it is Miggy, right? It is, because I think the problem I have is the formation that Bruce likes to play really isn't favourable for Almiron, really, because he plays.
How long we said this for? Yeah, we've sat here and said Almiron isn't a bad player, but our formation and the style of football that we play, he looks like a bad player.
Yeah, it just doesn't suit him, because he plays 3 centre midfielders and 2 up front. Well, I'm afraid we're in big trouble, because he's not. Almiron's not a centre midfielder. But I do agree. I mean, Willock coming in, of course, is great. And there was times today, in fairness, though, a lot of them came from when Saint had it, but there was a lot of times that looked dangerous as a team. We did look. Wilson was good, and Saint is dangerous. The problem you've got, though, is defensively. You cannot be conceding 4 goals against them. You know what I mean? And that worries is great. I mean, one of them the penalty was very, 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 very unjust. Yeah. So, but I think it's what frustrates us is the lack of how we couldn't control the game, could we? We're 2-1 up, and a really good side would control that game in the second half. You're at home as well, you'd be able to control the game. We could not control it. I'm
not sure if the cameras picked this up as well for the TV broadcast as well, but when they scored their 4th, their last goal, and I think there's still 20 minutes left after that.
It was, yeah.
Rice literally came back to the centre circle and said them all, push back, basically said just sit back and defend. With 2 goals up now, we've got 20 minutes. And even him saying that, they still had chances after that as well. Yeah, they did, because I get we're trying to chase the game, but we struggled to break them down after that.
We did, yeah. I mean, we only really had...
Especially when you take your midfielders out.
Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, Fraser come on, he had a whip shot there, but not really much. It's just we're coming back on probably to the manager in regards to tactically setting it up. And as I say, the problems were there. You could visually see the problems before even West Ham had scored. That the midfield was a problem. We were getting overrun.
And you look at it, obviously, we'll speak a lot more about this tomorrow night as well. But that substitution where Shelby goes off and Fraser comes on, well, fair enough if he wants to do that. I don't understand the point in that, especially when you've got Longstaff. That comes on the next substitution. At least do it like for like. If you think Shelby's legs are going, at least do like for like substitution and bring Longstaff on, because Bruce has obviously got that intention to bring Longstaff on at some point.
Yeah.
Make it then.
Yeah. Well, that's well, to be honest with you, when he brung Fraser on, I wasn't sure if Sean was on the bench. I knew I'd read his name, like boss there. Then when he brung Longstaff off, I said, well, what the hell did he bring? Just bring him on the first time. Yeah, it was disappointing.
Yeah. So there's a comment here from West Ham from Matthew Howard says the performance from Newcastle in the second half was awful. The pen shouldn't have been a pen, and I'm a West Ham fan. I think we're in agreement there with you, mate. We're not going to sit here and people will realize and realize that this podcast and YouTube channel will realize we're not going to sit here and defend a poor Newcastle United display. We'll be honest about it.
I've seen them a lot,
and it was shocking. He summed it up. It was piss poor that second half, especially comparing it to the first.
Yeah, absolutely.
But is there anything else that stands out for you in that game?
No, not really. To be honest with you, it was just it was just so disappointing because I must admit the first half I honestly genuinely enjoyed it, and I felt that
I thought we're going to win it.
Yeah, well,
first half.
I did see West Ham scoring again, if I'm honest, but I did think we would.
Yeah.
I thought we would have another goal in with. And I'll be really honest, as daft as it might sound, when the halftime whistle came, I kind of had that spark again of watching with. I felt a bit, I felt I had that spark, but then the second half, Christ. And I mean, credit to West Ham as well. I mean, West Ham really did well to try and sort out Saint. We weren't giving him the ball in the right area at all. The sort of Wilson never really had a touch the second half with Wilson, so it's. Again, I don't want to what's the word, overreact too much because it's a long old season, right? It's a long season. But just defensively conceding 4 goals in that manner, there were soft goals. There were soft goals.
Well, we're going to Villa next week, and Villa's display as well yesterday was bad. Their display was bad.
I tell you what it is, and the Premier League's always been like this, right? You lose 2 in a row. Isn't it funny how all of a sudden you feel different? It feels pressured. The fans will be going ballistic, losing 2 in a row. Let's hope that doesn't happen, of course, but it's not going to be easy.
But as many negatives there were in that game, mainly defensively, there was some positives in it as well. And I do just want to focus on that one. Saint had a great game that first half. Great, he wanted the ball. He wanted to impress. And when Saint's in that mood, he's first name on the team sheet.
Well, I just every time I hear him named, I just smile. He brings such a smile.
As always, Wilson was up for it. He wanted the ball in the box every single time we're trying to obviously go forward. I think when you've got Wilson, Saint, and Joe Willock on that field together, that'll probably change a few things, and you probably will get a lot more chances. I think I was looking, they had like 17 shots or something at goal today, which is phenomenal for us.
That's normally a season as well.
Aye, and I think West Ham had 18. Yeah. When you're looking at 35 shots at goal in one game, it is mental. And like I said at the start of this, as a neutral, that's a great game to watch.
Oh, it was.
Everything in it.
I totally agree. Mentioning Willock there as well, I think he will bring legs into midfield, which I think we desperately need. Because the gap between defence and midfield is just too damn big, and
that works both ways as well. So obviously, if we're dominating and going forward in a game, and let's say it's rather than the first half, we're going into full time, winning 2-1, and there's 15 minutes left on the clock. Take Willock off and put somebody like Shelby in or Hayden in just to slow it down that little bit.
Yeah.
So it works both ways, really. You've got them there as an impact coming off the bench to bring to take the game forward.
Well, I felt, I don't know how you felt, I felt Hayden was actually, first off, was almost being asked to bomb forward. He was in the box and things like that. And to me, my honest opinion of Hayden is he is the person that sits in the midfield and protects with defence. And I didn't feel that we played him in that.
Clark was in their box at times.
Yeah, well.
He was going on little adventures. God knows how he was finding himself up there, but Clark had a game where he just done whatever the hell he wanted, I think.
Yeah, I thought he was dreadful.
Yeah. It wasn't the greatest. Someone know he is a good player.
Yeah, he's been, we've always said he's a 7 out of 10. Normally, to be fair to the lad, he's normally been in the cold for ages. We'll get loads of injuries or suspensions, and he comes in and does a great job every time. So don't knock him too much for one game, but it was poor. It was poor.
Right, everybody. Thanks for joining me. I hope you've enjoyed this first edition of post-match. I forgot what it's called there. Post-match Para. Yeah. That's what we're called. We'll hopefully be doing a lot more of these this season. It won't always be me and Deka. It will be other people doing it instead of us too. But we are the ones that were free.
I'll hopefully be free mostly everyone. Yeah, I'm hoping to try and be.
Unfortunately.
I think we'll tune back in now.
Right, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow night. It'll be me, Deka. two regulars, Bestie and Mark, won't be here tomorrow. So we do have two special guests joining with tomorrow as well.
Yeah.
So keep an eye out for that. And we'll see you then. But yeah, first one.
Try and enjoy your evenings.
See you later.